In this video, I'm going to show you a set of Skyline GTR turbos that I did an upgrade to. This is from a R32 Nissan GTR. So this one's a 1990 model. The thing that we changed about them that's most important is that we took the turbine wheel and changed it to a bigger turbine wheel, but instead of one having a ceramic turbine, we changed it to one that has the Inconel turbine. That way it'll be a lot more reliable, because it's very common that this ceramic turbine blade can break off at higher boost, which is why we changed to the more reliable Inconel turbine. Now this one is the ceramic one, so we got 3.4, and this one is the Inconel one. The weight is almost double. This one is bigger though. This is 47 millimeter and this one's like 42. Here you can see how big of a difference in machining versus the factory turbine. This will make a huge difference in horsepower increase. This is after I did the machine work. I machined out the bore to 47.75, so it's 0.75 millimeter bigger than the turbine wheel. Then I just matched the radius. These turbine housings are only a 0.48. You can see it there. That's where it's marked. They are kind of small, but they are upgradable from the 42 millimeter turbine that was in there. The compressor wheel on this turbo, I measured it. It measured around 42 millimeter, which is pretty good size for a stock compressor wheel. It could also be upgraded to a 47.2 millimeter compressor wheel. If this person wanted to go ball bearing, it is possible, but the turbine housings have to be replaced with ball bearing turbine housings. If this person did want to go ball bearing, this compressor housing can be machined for the GTX 3071R compressor, 3071R. It could also be machined for the 3076 and GTX 3076R compressor wheels. The limiting factor on that is the turbine housings. You have to go to a bigger turbine housing if you're wanting to go bigger than the 53 millimeter compressor wheel. Otherwise, it's going to have a lot of heat issues. The inlet there is actually smaller than a normal T2 housing. It's very strange for it to be like that. This is your standard 5-bolt Nissan outlet flange and T2 bolt-on flange housing. So it's possible to get this turbine housing for a ball bearing center section that would fit directly, and you can get that in different sizes like a GT2871R, which would actually use the same turbine wheel as this. But the difference is the shaft for this one is set up for a journal bearing rather than a ball bearing turbine. So you can get this same turbine wheel with the ball bearing shaft. You could also get one that has a bigger turbine wheel that's like 55 by 60. That's a GT3071R and GT3076R, which would make it so that you can convert this turbo to a ball bearing version. But all this would get replaced if they did that. So this whole center section would be replaced and the turbine housing would be replaced. But for this turbo, we just simply changed out the turbine to this turbine, and I machined the turbine housing to compensate. And then the compressor housing and plate, I'm just planning to machine this plate here for an O-ring to seal against the compressor housing because it didn't have one from factory. In the description box, I'll link to the rebuild kits that I used in this project. They have a 360-degree thrust bearing, so they are the upgraded rebuild kits, and you can run higher boosts on them. I highly recommend that you use the 360-degree bearing if you plan on using more than factory boost. That will just increase the durability of the turbos if you do plan to run more boost and make more horsepower than stock. I had to make my own tools to do the machining on the turbine housings on this one, but the good thing about that is that I also need the same tool to do the machining on the Tommy arms upgrade for the RB26. That's the end of this video. Hopefully you stay tuned to the next video I'm going to make on the Tommy arms upgrade for the Nissan Skyline R32. This is going to be tomorrow's video. This turbo setup, there's two of these. This should be good for around the 900 horsepower range. The turbos that I'm showing you in the video now, the stock turbos upgraded should be good for between 600 to 750 horsepower, depending on where the turbine housings fall short of being able to hold up with the airflow.